Welcome everybody to the YouTube channel. Today we have my friend Steven Khanna here to talk about how he grew a sales team to 500,000 MRR in just 18 months. Steven, welcome to the channel.
Michael, lovely seeing you again, mate. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, absolutely. So for a little bit of context for anybody listening, I met Steven at Link Building Mastery. It's a conference hosted by our mutual friend, and Steven has always been the go-to sales presenter. So today on the channel, I thought I'd talk a little bit more about Steven's story and then see if we can extract a few secrets to all the success he's had in agency sales. So to start us off today, Steven, who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, so I got into SEO about 5 years ago. I've had my background in sales, running Michelin star restaurants back in the UK. So kind of sales was a very obvious part in my day-to-day job, apart from wowing the guests, customer service, all of
Sure.
that. But sales was a massive part of it. And once I stepped into SEO, it was really like fish to water kind of scenario where I quickly figured out a lot of SEO agencies struggle with sales because SEOs could be quite geeky, quite techy, not really client facing. And that's where I stood out quite quickly. So, one of my first roles, uh, grew the agency literally from nothing to half a mil MRR within 18 months. And at that time, being brand new in SEO, mate, I was just good old cold calling. I was like, nah, the only way I'm going to find out what the clients really want once I had targeted my ICP or laser focused on that, just lots of dials, mate, which then got me into multi-channel lead acquisition and all of that. And since then, I've just pivoted into sales consulting now. A lot of the big players in the industry have kind of asked me to come in and help look at the average order value, look at the conversion rates, look at the churn, see what the sales structure is. So I've been literally what I could say is just agency hopping, so to speak, with my sales consulting and training.
One thing I want to dive into is a lot of the people listening to my channel comment that I interview a lot of people that tend to just drop out of school and go right into business. And I always learn about people's transition from like a proper career into the agency world because it is quite a bizarre thing, especially when you are in it. It sounds kind of like a scam, but too good to be true sometimes. So, how did you go from the restaurant business into SEO? Because those are just like bizarrely different things.
Very bizarre, mate. To be honest, I gave myself 3 months. So the short story here is, grew up in the UK, but I live in Poland now, and my missus is Polish. We moved here 10 years ago. I was busy selling wines, B2B, B2C. Ran into my ex-boss in a Friday language exchange, just basically a piss up, really, an excuse to get together. He offered SEO. I was like, do you know what? Yeah, why not? I'll take the punt. I gave myself 3 months, but I loved it so much because success gives you that spark to do more and more, which is what I got quite quickly. And since then, just kind of understood link building, SEO in general. Yeah, I could probably say I've had more success in SEO than I've ever had in the restaurant industry, even though I spent upwards of 20 years in restaurants and having worked with someone like Gordon Ramsay the first 5 years of my career. But kind of loving it. So it was more about a family decision of me moving to Poland, which led me to randomly come across SEO. And even though I didn't give myself much chances in SEO, people say that, uh, blessing in disguise kind of
Sure.
scenario. And that's what it happened. Something it seemed scary actually turned out, oh, bloody hell, I should have done it a lot earlier.
So that's how you got your first client with your Xbox boss. But what happened for you to then say the next client and the next client? Like, what did that process go from? I'm guessing the first client became a case study. How did you go about getting, let's say, the first three clients?
Yeah, well, to be honest, the first five, even 10 clients was a mix of warming leads up or trying to find leads on LinkedIn, but in a very specific manner, which is not just spray and pray methodology, but engaging with their posts, waiting for 72 hours to try and then soft pitch, do voice notes, do Loom videos, a bit of cold calling in between. But every time I started delivering results to the first client, to the third client, to the fifth client, I never hesitated to ask for referrals and give something back in return. And I see a lot of agencies make that mistake, the ones I'm consulting. My first question is, how many active clients you've got? And they're like, 15. Right. Have you ever asked them for referrals? Because that's the easiest pipeline to attack. No, I've never done that, mate. It's like, mate, come on. Have you delivered results? Then you should do that. So that's how I did that. And once kind of I had enough clients in the pipeline, active clients, 20, 30 onwards, then the systems had to come in place. Then my account management team had to come in. The SOPs were needed. The tech stack was needed in order to then scale, but also funnel down in a way that I looked at, right, what's our skill set? What are we really good at? Which vertical have we had that success? Right. And then build like a 6-month success plan towards that specific vertical. Have like a 30, 60 day, 90 day, 120-day milestone review, tweak that. And if we achieved what we've achieved, we then looked at linear industries or verticals connected. Like if it was real estate, what else can we go into, which is the mortgage industry, for
Sure.
example, that kind of stuff, you know? And that's how kind of I kept attacking. And from no clients, very quickly I acquired 87 clients, active clients within 18 months. And that's how it should be. Sales, no matter how good you are at delivering results, how good you are at creating structures, SOPs, if you're not on it every day, every hour, it's going to fall through. Classic example I can give you, I think the best founder running the agency right now, top of the tree would be Julian Goldie. That guy is an absolute maniac when it comes to having the standards right up there. There's actually a reporting and a KPI for almost everything, but that's what drives success. And sales, you need a bit of obsession about it, but with a lot of structure, with a lot of laser focus to go. Right? If I answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great answer. And one other question I have tying into that. So that goes over how you got your first few clients. Now, a lot of people follow me on YouTube. They hear about cold email for acquisition. That's what I do. You know, they hear about using content. They hear about LinkedIn. They hear about everything, but you don't hear much, at least in my circle, about getting leads at conferences. And obviously, that's where I met you. And you since told me that your conference schedule is impressively crazy. And obviously, you must be getting clients and doing well at these conferences. So, how did you get into the whole what's called the conference bracket for getting clients? How did you get into that? And how would you suggest someone else might consider getting into that?
Yeah, so conferences are the best way to shorten your sales cycle rather than investing in paid ads, doing cold outbound. Pick relevant conferences, which would be a perfect fit for whichever agency, SaaS tool, whatever you're doing. Go there with a booth. Make sure you've got the right kind of people going with you, because the lead flow there is just incredible. But make sure once people are going there, there's a very clear target of what we're trying to achieve. X amount of leads, X amount of revenue, which needs to convert within 30 days, 90 days, 120 days, depending on who you're targeting, what's your sales cycle, what product and service. But if you don't have that, people take that as just as a glorified holiday. So they'll have a lot of these conversations. They'll come back, oh yeah, I had 10 different conversations. 3 months down the line, they're like, how many of them converted? Oh,
Yeah,
he never spoke to me. So what I used to do a lot is if I was giving a demo to whatever SaaS tool, if I was representing, I had a shortened version of that, got them interested, which was a bit like the lead magnet there, but then book them for a follow-up call, literally on the spot there. And then make sure I did follow up with a Loom video 24 hours before the call. So they do show up, because it's normal. They go around, they speak to 100 different
yeah,
people. But then certain other things, like if you've got a booth, do some sort of competitions there. Like we always had the fortune wheel on our booths. But rather than just giving our prices, if I was representing a SaaS tool, every fourth number there was, oh, get £50 free voucher to spend on our tool. Now, for them to spend that, they will have to register on the platform. That's again a massive
sure.
thing to kind of go and chase. So those things, but most importantly, mate, do not miss the networking events after the conference ends. because a lot of people just disappear into their bunkers, into their hotel rooms, and they don't want to go out. The biggest deals usually happen late evening. And this is what I figured out quite quickly. The first biggest casino client I signed, which was worth 80 grand MRR, I was targeting him all day. In the networking event, he was standing at the back of the queue trying to get whiskey on the rocks. And I go up to this bloke and I said, why are you in a queue, mate? It's like, Steve, I've got these free vouchers. That's a bunch of bollocks, mate. It's like 20 people in front of me. What do you want? Whiskey on the rocks. All right. Restaurant days, I knew how the bartender's going to react. I know how to cheer him up. I literally went around the bar, did what I had to do, got him a whiskey on the rocks, got him to sit with me. He was exclusive to me for the next 30 minutes, followed him up, closed him next week. But after I spoke to him for 30 minutes, I had my eyes set on someone else, and then a fourth person, and then a fifth person. Like, go in with a funnel vision, but also be charming. Don't be salesy. Don't be pushy. Just go around, be mates, just have a chat, and
Sure.
business would follow.
I like that a lot, and I think that's really good advice, people listening, because I completely agree with you. I got into conferences much later. I mean, I went to my first one maybe 2 years ago, and it is so fast compared to like you don't need a perfect website. You don't even need a perfect offer. It's just if you're likable and sociable, you can do very well. So I really like that advice there. Now, transferring from that, one question I get, but this one I actually struggle to answer. So I'd love to hear your answer as a sales coach is for someone that says, I struggle being likable or I'm not great at sales. Where do you recommend they start? Now, for me, I've always been natural with sales. So because it's natural, I have a hard time explaining it. So I'd love to hear, especially you working with SEO agency owners, but tend to be a little bit on the techie, dorky side, we could say. How do you even start someone to improve at sales?
Yeah. So there are two options there, and I do hear that a lot with founder-led agencies I'm consulting, because in this day and age of AI automations, so you either bring in AI automations, create some sort of an AI avatar to literally go through the first couple of touch points where the sale becomes almost without you, or if you can't do that, just get in someone, get a talent in, because you can't be doing everything. It's like you can't polish a turd, let's be honest. And I think a lot of founders have that problem. No, I can't have anybody else facing up to my clients because they're going to destroy the brand and all of that. No, it's not going to happen. Actually, they themselves are the bottleneck because they are stopping the growth of the agency. And if you're shit at sales, you're not likable, you're not sociable, get someone in.
And do you think that that should be something agencies should consider from the start? Or do you think it's still worth bootstrapping those first, let's say, 10, 20 clients before then?
That should be part of their cost structure from day one. So if they're two co-founders starting a SaaS tool, and both of them are shy, conservative, they're not good at sales, well, they need to bring in a salesperson very quickly. And if I was one of them and my co-founder was, we were exactly the same, I would actually bring in a talented salesperson in and just give him a portion of the pie and say, mate, grow this with us and kind of just make it like a three-person team. Because sales is what, no matter how great your software, your service, your tool is, if you can't sell it, you can't sell the value, you don't have the persistence, the passion, the patience, the hunger, the hunter mentality to chase people and close them, then you just basically a dog trying to catch its tail.
100%. I love that. And one question again on sales is, there's when people ask for sales advice, it's a super broad question, and there's a million ways to answer it. You could talk about having a background or having a CRM or objection handling, whatever it may be. There's a bunch of answers. What is your favorite piece of sales advice to give? So I'm not going to ask you how to do sales on this call because that would be a very long answer, but there's one short, tangible thing that you really like to share. What would that one piece of advice be?
Yeah, speed to lead, and don't hide behind your computer screens. Pick up the damn phone, and if you set up your funnels right, talk to the person. It still works. It adds tons of value. It gives you all the feedback. all the insight you need to either close that client or tweak your business. So the more conversations you have with people face to face, either face to face or on the phone, that just speeds up your progress. So people who are shy of phones or saying, "Oh, calling doesn't work anymore," no, they're actually wrong because they've never tried it themselves.
And just for anybody listening that doesn't know what speed delete is, what you're referring to is as soon as someone becomes a lead, they fill out a form, they send you an email, you're talking about the fastest possible response time to get to them, right?
Within 5 minutes.
5 minutes. You got to turn on the notifications on the phone, I guess. Everybody wants to have no notifications, but maybe you got to have them on.
Mate, I've got a few automations kicked in already when I'm sleeping, but then I make sure my follow-ups are actually me, not my AI avatar.
Sure. You know, one other thing that was really catchy you mentioned at the last presentation of yours I saw, probably because it sounds funny, is BAMFAM. And I've been using that in my own coaching. I kind of took that from you, I'm sorry, which you're talking about speed to lead, how fast we get to somebody, but at the end of every meeting having a clear objective set and then booking a call from that objective, book a meeting from a meeting. I don't know if you came up with that or if it's just a sales thing I didn't hear before, but that's been really catchy and it's something I've used quite a bit since your presentation.
Brilliant. And no, that's been going on for the last 10 years, mate.
Okay,
But not a lot of people know it, but not a lot of people use it effectively. They get too shy. So the
sure.
usual standard average salesperson on the phone would be on the discovery call would be brilliant. I'll send you the slide deck. I'll send you the recording. Let me know what you think, and I'll get back to you sometime next week. That's just lazy. How much time do you need based on
Yeah,
what you're selling? So usually the finishing is brilliant, Michael. Listen, if this is added value, you did say you need to chat to your co-founder. So today is Friday. I'm assuming if you're meeting that person over the weekend, great. If not, let's just book in something for Tuesday. So you guys can have a chat. Look at my slide deck. How does your calendar look like Tuesday? I've got 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. You're actually not even giving them a choice.
sure.
Uh, and you are kind of psychologically educating them. If this is what you need, you don't need a week to think about it because then doubts creep in. And 50% of the sales, trust me, come from follow-ups and BAM firms. And if people are religious about it, they'll close a lot more.
I love that. And I love the acronym. It's so easy to remember. I'm not normally a fan of acronyms, but I like that. Um, all right. Well, Stephen, I think second to last question for you is what is your ultimate goal with this? So you have multiple decades of experience in a restaurant business. You magically transitioned to SEO. You're now a well-known SEO sales trainer and have done quite well for yourself. What is the long term with this? Is it to continue to work with bigger and bigger agencies? I'm very curious to hear.
Yeah, I want to scale it properly. I want to make sure that I've actually got a finger in every agency out there within SEO, SaaS, whatever. And there are too many, or digital marketing agencies as such, because there's so much there. So I'm currently collaborating with a couple of the biggest names in the industry just to scale it out based on the value I've added, the testimonials I've had, and just be that number one. I'm going to stick my neck out here and say that be the Gordon Ramsay of
Sure.
SEO sales in the industry. Do that for the next 5, 6 years, mate, and then possibly sip my mojitos somewhere on an island in the Caribbean in a few years' time. That's my
There we
go-to
go.
strategy.
Love it. Well, as a final question, where can listeners go to learn more about you? I'll have those links in the description.
Brilliant. Right. So I've got my website, which is stevenkhanna.com. But if people simply Google me, who is Steven Khanna, you'll see loads of YouTube videos, webinars, podcasts coming up. I'm very active on LinkedIn. Find me, connect with me, send me a message. I usually respond. Speak to leader. I usually respond quite quickly.
There we go. Well, you have your opportunity to test out Steven. So message him on LinkedIn, see how fast he answers. And if you need sales, obviously, seriously, message Steven. He's done some amazing work of agencies. And I know a lot of people listening, they're obviously listening to me for how to get leads. But if you can't close them, that's no use. So have a chat with Steven. And again, Steven, thank you for coming on today.
Brilliant. Cheers, buddy. Thank you. Thanks a lot.